Well, maybe.
We're ready? Well, yeah, I am. Go ahead and start.
Silence
Do you
my
need a new
watch so
agenda?
nobody.
Let them know.
No, I have to get the agenda to get the,
Let me know when you're ready, Gus.
here I thought I was in great shape and then I forgot that. Actually do
Oh,
this
shut
stuff
the
on
blur
here.
off.
Sorry to be a little late. There was a red Vespa that was taking up a whole parking space out there that I had to move.
Had to move.
Deserves its own parking
You can go ahead and start, Pete. I've got the agenda. I'll be signing it. You can go ahead and start. Go ahead.
Mike, or can we start? Mike, can we start? Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. This is the Board of Selectmen meeting for May 12.
Select board.
Pardon?
Select board.
What did I say?
Selectmen.
Oh, yeah. We changed that, huh? Good idea.
To go retro.
Select board meeting, excuse me. And we appreciation for our troops that are serving around the globe in defense of our country, and we remind everybody that we are at war for several months now. Thank you. So our first appointment is, it looks like it's a public hearing.
See if we got him here.
Solicitor's license. Power Home Remodeling Representative.
So let me promote Cade, who's our first one.
And I'll open the public hearing
So
then.
you-
So are we doing all these tonight?
Yeah,
Did I miss that in the packet?
the public hearing, that's just the representatives.
Oh, okay. Now, read
So
off,
Cade represents Power Home Remodeling,
okay.
so you just are gonna do, with him, he will be representing the rest of the Power Home Remodeling.
Okay. And all of these names, if passed, will go on the website. go on the website.
Glad to
for
see you're not
people.
driving, sir.
No, I'm not. Nice and part.
So why don't you tell us what this is about?
Yep, so we're a home remodeling exterior company. So we do windows, roofing, siding, and doors. We market through door-to-door, just free estimate. And that's it.
And
If you want to know a little more about the company, we're family owned and operated since '92. Our headquarters is in Philly, but our local office is in Waltham.
okay. My audio just changed. Does that affect what you hear? Oh, yeah, I can't go with this.
What's wrong with you?
I'm getting the,
That, you're.
I'm getting it through the Bluetooth into my hearing aids,
Oh.
which is confusing, so let me just see.
So this one says Trevor Sharp.
So
but I
Pete,
don't see
you
a
can
Trevor
take like
Sharp.
calls during our meetings and nobody knows because it's.
That's
coming out.
right.
Give
Yes, I can be listening to the Beatles.
Trevor to-
All right, sir, why don't you go ahead? Sorry.
Oh, did nothing I said come through?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
We heard you were family-owned, that you have headquarters, I think in Philadelphia, but a local office in Waltham.
Yes, our delivery warehouse is out of Marlboro as well. As I stated before, we are full exterior, so roofing, insulation, gutters, windows, doors, trim. We do our marketing by door to door. We've been in a couple of towns recently, Bellingham, Millis, Medway, Wayland, and Framingham. There's going to be, I believe, 6 of us because Alessia is no longer with the business. But yeah.
Anything else?
That's it. That is it. But I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Okay, Mr. Murphy.
So, only because we didn't get the actual normal form that
No,
we
we
get.
didn't get
Could,
it.
could you just go over the days that you want to operate, the hours that you want to operate?
Doesn't ask.
I assume this is a 90,
so-
first off, I assume this is a 3-month. We don't typically give more than 90 days, so sometimes we have people come in looking for six months to a year, and it's renewable, but we typically only authorize 30 days. So figuring out when you want to start, when that would end, what days you want to operate, and what hours you'd like. We just don't happen to have the form in front of us.
Yeah. We usually only are in one location for roughly 2 to 3 weeks. We don't like to hit the same areas more than once, bother people any more than one time. But all we do is usually as soon as you guys approve us, I can start the 30 days, but we'll be out usually within 2 weeks.
Okay. So it's a 30-day request, and what days and hours do you want to
Well,
work?
that's because you said 30, you said 90, but then you said 30.
But he's saying
But
30.
he's saying they'll be out in 2 weeks, so if 30 days is more than adequate for you, that's great. You can get 90 if you
Absolutely,
want it. Okay,
absolutely is.
okay.
Weekends?
And then for hours, we usually are only from 10 to 7.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
10 to 7.
7 during the week, including the weekends?
Yeah, during the week, and then sometimes Saturdays are optional, but we do 10 to 2.
Okay. If that works.
Okay, so if I heard that correctly, that is, let's just say if it's starting tomorrow, it'd be in and out of here by June 13th?
Let's give them 30 days.
That would be
Let's give them a
the
month.
hope. That is the typical time, yes.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I don't. I would make the observation, we have not heard any complaints about power. You've been here before. We have not heard any complaints
Yes.
about this particular door-to-door solicitation. I can tell you, we actually have at least one company that won't be able to get through us again, because we've gotten some bad reports from them in the last year. It's not you guys, so, thank you.
Ms. Murphy?
Thank you.
And then I just want to stress, just so that it's said here in the meeting, that definitely check in with the police. And we do know that there are many residents in town that have no solicitors at their door, which has created, some of the other companies just ignore that and ring the doorbell anyways. So please respect and have your team respect. If they're approaching a residence that has a sign that basically saying, please don't knock, because that will haunt you down the road. And then, yeah, I think the police these days have to have badges, they have tags that we give
So
them,
we
right?
have them in that folder right there, so along with the no solicitor list, so they
Okay.
have to come and pick up their, new badge with their photo and then they'll have the no solicitor list as well.
Okay, and then just to confirm, it's Monday through Friday, 10 to 7. Saturdays are optional, but if you do it, it'd be 10 to 2. Okay?
Yes, that is
Perfect.
correct.
That works for me?
And I don't know if you understood, Mr. Hurley, but we actually have a no solicitors list that you'll get at the
Yeah.
police station? Yep, okay.
And I think the one on.
We have the same for Bellingham, so we are all familiar with the do not knock lists and using them. Do you want us to check in with the police
Yeah.
department and let them know what streets we'll be on?
Yes,
every night?
please.
Oh, yes,
We do that
please.
for Bellingham.
Yes.
Yeah.
That works to your advantage, because if people see solicitors in the neighborhood, even though you're legit, they'll call. So if the police know you're operating in an
Yeah.
area, it actually keeps your life simpler to do that, so.
And I'm just going to read the names off just to make sure we have them correct.
City officers.
We've got James Davenport will be with
Yeah,
you,
absolutely.
Jason Grant, Ryan Bork, James Norton Jr., and George Arculus?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Any
Thank
questions?
you.
Any further questions from my colleagues? Any questions from the audience? Online? Do we declare the hearing closed and then vote, or?
Yes.
Well,
So-
There's another one right after it. Do we
There's
close it and then
another one
open
right
it, or do we keep it open?
No, there's separate hearings.
Okay.
So I declare this hearing closed and entertain a motion.
I move to approve Power Home remodeling for 30 days, starting May 13th, wrapping up June 13th, Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, and if they choose to come in on Saturdays, their hours of operation will be 10 to 2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye, aye. Thank you, Mr. Hurley.
You're good. Thank you very much.
All set.
Thank you guys for your time.
You bet. Take us with you now, please. Okay, we have a next hearing is Trevor Sharp, Ruva Pest Solutions Representative. And I declare that hearing open.
Trevor was there and he just disappeared.
I just promoted him.
Oh,
That's
there we
why.
go.
All
Perfect.
right.
Hi, Mr.
You guys hear
Sharp.
me?
Tell us about what you're doing, please.
Sure. I'm one of the owners of Ruva Pest Control. We're a new company in town. We started in Hartford, Connecticut, have been there for 3 years. You can check out the reviews that we've gotten while in Hartford. We got 4.9 stars, almost 3,000 customer reviews. And similar to Kate, who was just talking, we primarily market through door to door. And I get it. I'm a homeowner. You guys are homeowners. A lot of people I talk to, including my own family, says, "Does anybody ever say yes to you?" It is a viable business option, a way of marketing. We do get a lot of no's, but it is worth it. A couple of things that I'll point out, as I've worked at a few different companies before starting my own, we do not knock any no soliciting doors. We're only doing residential pest control. We don't knock any no soliciting doors. We have a morning meeting at 10 o'clock before going out to area, so we'll start knocking around 11 o'clock. We knock until dark, Monday through Friday. And then on Saturdays, from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. We've got a team of 15 right now. It could get up to around 19. We're familiar with the do not knock list and adhering to that. Yeah, what other questions do you have?
Well, thank you for that presentation, Mr. Murphy. Any
What-
questions?
Yeah, one question I had was exactly what kind of pest control company are you in terms of, like, some pest control companies go after raccoons and attics, and other pest control companies go after spiders and ants and bugs. Or maybe you do
Yeah.
both, I don't know, but what kind of pest control do you do?
Great question. So general pest is your ants, spiders, wasps. So we do general pest. The specialty pest that we do on top of the general pest would be ticks and rodents. So we're not wildlife, or we're not taking care of the raccoons, the squirrels, bats, like anything like that. Yeah, it's the general pest, ticks, and mice.
So then,
And it is warranted, so if anything pops up in between regular services, come back as frequently as needed. Yeah, we have everybody go through an agreement. We send them a copy of that agreement that includes that warranty.
so if that's the case, then my question is just to understand the kind of material, the kind of chemicals or whatever it is you're using, the kind of treatment. I always see these ads that say we're getting rid of ants, ticks, mice, and spiders. Spiders aren't bad, except that people don't like them because they're scared of them. They're actually good. But the more important question is, basically, I'm asking how toxic are the materials that you're spreading?
Great question, great question. Yeah, so everything that we use is kid, pet friendly, environmentally responsible, as long as it's used appropriately, as with most products. And all of our technicians have to pass a state test to be able to say, hey, I understand how to use these products appropriately. And so if used appropriately, which they are, then not only, are they quote unquote safe, but they actually, there's a lot of parents that, that they're worried about ticks, in their kids, people who have animals, worried about ticks getting on their wasps. And then obviously just the general nuisance of, the ants, spiders, stink bugs, all those other ones that, yeah, more of an inconvenience than a real concern, but we treat for both of them.
So I'm thinking about, if I have wasps, I picture that as a spot treatment, wherever the wasps are, whereas the neighbors that I've had that have used services for ticks, I always get out there, because if I'm downwind when they're being fogged, I basically say, like, I didn't ask you to fog my yard, I don't want it fogged. Is it more spot treatment? I think with ticks that I've run across, they use eucalyptus or something like that. So they're using a non-toxic substance that ticks don't just like to try to drive the ticks out of a yard. Do you do both spot and area treatment like that, or how does that work?
Yeah, great questions. And what I'll say, not mean like geek out on you, but there's different products for different types of pests. So what I'm going to use on ants will be different than what I use for ticks, and obviously different than what I'm going to use for wasps, and obviously different than what I'm using for rodents. And so because of that, it's all spot treating. It should never be, just douse and like put stuff out there and hope it's, making a difference. And so when a certain pest in a certain area or it's prevalent to that, you would treat with a certain product in that area. But you'll never see us go out with foggers. And again, like I've gone through a lot of the same. I'm not one who actually applies the product. I've gone through a lot of the same testing, and everything down to like droplet size and the wind for that day is taken into consideration when they apply the product to make sure you're not getting drift going into other people's property, or where you don't want it to go. Yeah, so we're well aware of all those things.
Okay. So one last question, I'll leave you alone to Eileen and Pete. Only because I'm sensitive to some of the public discussion that's gone on here in town with rodents using rodenticides that basically become, a rodent dies, a hawk grabs it,
Yep.
eats it, and the hawk dies. What do you use for rodents?
Great question. And you guys are right to be concerned about those type of things, because if the wrong type of product is used, it is true that there can be what's called secondary issues that can happen with that, the neighborhood cats, hawks, eagles, like all of that. The products that we use don't have secondary issues.
Okay.
So it will take care of mice, rats, but if a cat gets that mouse or a hawk gets that rat, it's not going to cause any secondary issues for that secondary life form that gets it.
Okay, thanks. Those are my questions.
Eileen?
So do you want me to run through the names right now, just to confirm?
Sure.
So Trevor, I'm gonna read off, so I don't see your name on the list I'm about to read off. Are you actually coming to town or no?
No.
Fine, okay, just checking. So I see Bryce.
I would love to meet you guys in person, but no.
There's like 20 names here. Bryce Forehead, Trevor Tobiason, Brady Dalen, Tristan Rich. If I hack up on these names, I apologize.
So can you hear us, Trevor? I don't think so.
Hold on.
Mike, are we up and running?
Recording in progress.
Can you hear us now?
Are we back?
Oh, you're back. There we go.
All right. Do you recall
Awesome.
what name I read last?
I remember the name
A
Trevor.
list of names.
Yeah.
So, I was just confirming, because at first we weren't sure if you were, and you already answered that you're not coming to town, just this group of 20. And I just want to make sure that what's been
Correct.
submitted falls in line with what you believe has been submitted. So we've got Bryce Borhead, Trevor Tobiasen, Brady Dellin, Tristan Rich, Jared Polson, Kenneth Dick, Nathan Garrett, Chandler Glass, Boston Pond, Naomi Guzman Garcia, Truman James, Logan Brown, Abigail Hark, Hammer, Levy Rowley, and Will Evans. That make sense? Did we miss anybody?
You've got it.
Okay.
No, that's all of them, and I'll say that there won't be any more than that. As you can imagine, there's a lot of rejection in this job. There can be drop off, and so I wouldn't be surprised if not all of those individuals made it to your.
AM to sundown, and basically no later than 7 PM, and then Saturday 10 to 2? We said 10 to, all right, it says 10 to 2 on the, what the police
Until
have.
4 o'clock.
Okay.
And then do we have dates?
We don't,
So May 3rd.
We're pretty strategic. It's like slowly moving through cities, heading in your guys' direction.
Without having to come back and ask for an extension. Okay.
Okay.
any other questions? Ms. Murphy?
I would ask for an extension, so we're starting. So it's not the problem with getting an extension, we just don't give more than 90 days at a time, because if we're getting feedback from residents, we want to be able to act on it in a reasonable time period. Okay.
Sure.
All right, we make a motion.
Sure. Okay.
If you're done asking
Okay.
questions. But
I already did.
are you done asking questions? Do we have any questions from the public?
For soliciting in Medfield, starting May 13th, wrapping up August 13th, with hours Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to sundown, will be no later, than 7 p.m. and Saturday.
Second.
Mr. Sharp, why is it called RUVA?
Just a random word. It was a Google word scrambler. And
All
we
right.
do several names.
All in favor?
Wanted to be unique.
Aye, aye. You're all set then. Thank you for coming. Good luck. Okay, next is our town
Thank you.
clerk, Marion Benaldi, to provide 375th anniversary parade.
The parade is taking place on October 17th. It seems like a long time away, but it is not. This celebration is I've got characters walking around. Our local committees and clubs and that nature will be participating in the parade as well. And then after the parade, we're having a party in the park, which is at Town Pond, that we have partnered with Bell Forge, and they're going to be helping us with that. About what the route is so that people will have it in their head. Obviously, we'll be continuously talking about this, and I'm booked at different events, whether it was the Historical Commission or the Historical Society. I'm doing horse thieves. I'm talking to, I don't even know. So I'm all over the place. But anyway, the route right now is the parade's going to start at the high school. We are going to come out of the high school onto South Street. We are turning right onto Pound Street. We're taking Pound Street all the way to the end past Tilden Village to get to the Peak House. And then we are taking a left onto Main Street from there. So we're going from the Peak House all the way down here to North Street. Well, we will be taking a right, and then the parade will continue down North Street, and it will start to disperse or break up at like Dale Street Memorial School area. And again, that was a collaborative effort with the police and with the fire, and there was a lot of details about why the route had to be that in terms of emergency services and things of that nature. I'm trying to think. We expect thousands of attendees for that day. That you'll be seeing more. I'm meeting with the Hometown Weekly about the spread that they'll be doing. I'm trying to get as much information out there before summer vacation starts and the town kind of gets into the sun. But we're fundraising. This is all fundraise driven. Right now we've raised about $90,000. We're about $35,000 off, so we're still looking for some more funds. We have a website. People can go to that to donate and things like that. And otherwise, I just want to keep you guys updated as to what's going on so you hear it from me. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Yep.
Good going. Questions?
Just a quick question on the 35,000 that you
Yes.
still have to go. Are there any, do you have any special events or anything planned at this point
No.
around how to generate that?
No, the reason, it's, I have a hard time spending money to make money. So I don't do backwards and forwards. So this is a fundraising event. If you give me, it goes to one thing. It's not, give me this, it'll go to a ball so I can hopefully get more. I don't do things that way. So the answer to your question is no. So, anything else?
Anything else?
Is there anything else you need from us?
I don't think so. I'm just going to keep you guys informed so you know what's going on, because obviously I know that you're out into the public and the community and you're talking to people, and I want to make sure you have the right information when people ask you questions about it. So I'm always around to answer.
Mrs. Murphy?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. Oh,
Uh-huh.
good. So, listening to the route, are they going to, like on Medfield Day, what makes it great is it's so easy to get around. The main roads are shut off, the access to walk down North Street is extremely easy and safe. Will the police be offering to do the same thing? Maybe 109? In North Street and then wrapping behind the pond.
Or for areas and stuff, yeah.
So is that, can we anticipate some road?
So the way that I understand it, based on the conversations we've had to the party in the park goes from 1 to 4.
Okay.
So again, like around 11 o'clock, it'll be a rolling open on Main Street, because we didn't want to shut down for the entire day, because we didn't want to prohibit businesses or commuters or whoever from doing their thing. But North Street in that area will remain closed until the party's over.
Did they consider, like they did for the December event, have in that general North Street out?
Yeah,
front
we're
in
not
front
doing
of-
like a vendor thing. We're
Okay,
not, this is
okay.
not, this is not vendors, this is a party in the park.
Okay.
This isn't,
Well, you mentioned food trucks and stuff, I wasn't.
oh
sure.
yeah, you can get foods and drink, but not,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I said
Yeah.
vendors, I meant like food trucks and all
Right.
that, just so there's plenty of room.
right. So, we've had a lot of conversation with the police and the fire. They know what they're doing way more than I do. I know that Mo and the DPW are gonna be helping us out with barriers and things of that nature. I don't know what the final decisions are gonna be on that, but I trust that the police chief and the fire chief know what they're doing.
I'm with you on that
So,
one.
I will follow their lead.
And then one other one, knowing that you just said that we really want to try to capture as much attention now, before everyone starts to scatter come the end of June. We
Right.
have the special election coming up June 8th.
Correct.
Is there anything we can do, any signs you want held during the day? Because we're really not promoting it, the outside the way you would a typical election, but if there's any way to draw attention to the 375?
Yeah, I mean, I'll certainly have some materials at the election. I really, to put on my town clerk hat, I like the elections to be about elections.
Okay.
And I don't like mixing church and state too much.
Okay.
There's a disrespect there that you know what I mean? It's a separate
Okay.
thing. Tracy's been doing an excellent job with social media. We're getting more things in print. We've been having different videos made of our sponsors, which will be out there. We are also, because people are leaving soon, we're working on, which will go in the mail today, we're doing a butters notices now to let people know, and those will continue to roll out, so nobody will be surprised, especially with parking and all of that stuff. So, yeah, we're getting there.
All
But
right.
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun. One for the books, so.
All right, I'm done. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Congratulations, it sounds like you are well along, so.
Thank you. It's a really great team. We've been having a lot of fun planning. It's a
So
good
the
group.
select board wants to,
Jerry Kazanjian will tell you exactly where you need to be, and hopefully. But, yeah.
well, that's
you'll be there.
excellent. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we could ride them.
You, maybe.
Yes. All right,
But that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. All right, our next item is Christian Donner to present 2 potential upcoming scout projects for the rail trail.
Hello, good evening. I have the pleasure, Christian Donner. Do you want me to state my name and address as we do at town meeting? I have the pleasure to inform you and ask for permission and answer questions about 2 scout projects that we would like to conduct on the rail trail. We're almost out of projects at the moment, but these are 2 that I would like to do. So the first one is Jordan Agnello, who is an Eagle Scout candidate, and he would like to restore the railroad artifacts that we have along the trail. There are the whistle posts that are these concrete posts with the W, and he will straighten them out, patch the concrete, paint them. And there's the battery box neo-colonial, which is that round concrete ring with a metal lid, where the railroad had batteries for the lights at the crossing when power went out. That's number 1. And Jordan is on Zoom, I believe, but if you have any questions, you might be able to answer those. The second one is a group of Girl Scouts who approached me about placing a what we call an interpretive sign at the Farm Street location, Farm Street Station, or Farm Street Depot Station, as it was called. The foundations are still visible when you go in Farm Street towards Dover. You see on the right some concrete blocks in the woods in there. Sorry. And so the 3 Girl Scouts are Katarina Zeng, Brooke Jennings, and Satya Sedimbi, and they will do the research and curate the content, old photographs, stories about the history of the station and the railroad, and then we'll help them install a sign, interpretive signs. They are, I'm sure you've seen them at various places around the country. They are like table level, but at an angle. They're printed behind epoxy so that it doesn't fade, and it's weather resistant, and it'll be high quality, and it'll be a good addition to the rail trail, I think. So
That's it?
that's it.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions. First project is an Eagle project.
Yes.
So to be clear, as a former adult leader of Scouts, I expect the Eagle project, the Eagle candidate, to come and make the presentation for this. So if you're asking us from a conceptual standpoint, do we think it's a great idea?
Yeah.
Sure sounds great to me, but in terms of approving the project, I would expect that Eagle Scout will come here and make a presentation.
He will, and
Okay.
he's aware of that, and this is, as
This is
we've done this in the past, so I come here first, I explain what we're gonna do, then you give permission to move forward, and then when the project is shovel-ready, we'll come with a presentation.
Okay, that's great.
Right.
And then with the Girl Scouts, I was not a former Girl Scout leader. Are they doing this for some rank? Or
So it
just-
is the 7th and 8th grade Silver Award project.
Okay.
I'm not familiar, with the project, with the rules of the Girl Scouts either, but this
So
is
because
what.
I'm not qualified in Girl Scouting, I will request that those Girl Scouts come and make that presentation before.
I have already given them advance notice of this requirement. Yes.
They both sound like great ideas to me.
Anything else?
Nope.
Ms. Murphy?
Yes, but I actually want to bring up something regarding the rail trail that I'm not happy about, and I want to find out what happened. So I'm going to ask Brittany to show a picture, because I want to make sure that we're keeping the rail trail clean, and we stay true to what we are agreeing to right here. So,
I think I know what you're talking about, and I'm very glad you're bringing it up.
Okay. Okay, so let's, so the people who are watching and are here, if you go, and I happened to walk the rail trail before the election, and I saw it again yesterday, and it just irritated me to no end. If you zoom in, there's a sign that reads, in a box that we agreed to, which is going to have information about the rail trail, about nature, nothing to do with any political statement or any vote. Vote no, development, parcel B, preserve, blah, blah, blah. I read that and I was livid, because I was like, that is not the intent of this. And I'm quite certain if Mateo Benson came here, that was not the intent of why he wanted to put a kiosk in.
That's not what I thought you were going to ask me, but okay. I appreciate it. These are no longer there. I removed them today. I was asked to place them in there.
Okay, in the future, please don't.
Okay,
I can't stress that enough, that it's going to tarnish when we sit here and we want to encourage the Eagle Scouts and now the Girl Scouts to do things, and we have the beautiful print that his daughter did.
Marcette.
So I can't stress enough. This is like a one and done. And I even asked Christine today, when we read, I went back, thanks to Brittany, and watched the meeting that we approved this, and we clearly said what we did and did not want, and you offered a key, so I'm gonna ask that a key is given to Christine, because in the future, if I see something like this, which I hope I never see again,
Yep.
I'm just gonna go take it out myself. But I really
Understood.
can't stress enough that that should not happen,
okay.
okay? So thank you.
What I thought you were going to bring up is the
Now I'm
dumping-
nervous.
is the dumping of yard waste on Colonial at the Well House access path.
Oh, I
And
didn't see
This
that.
has been going on since before the rail trail was built. But people have asked me about it, and it's one person who lives on Colonial, and I've talked to him, and he was not appreciative. And he continues to do it. So I don't know what can be done, but I would like to hand this problem off to the town and put it in capable hands, because,
The dumping occurs on the rail trail itself,
no, it's on town property.
on town property.
So the access path off Colonial, we use that all the time. There's the abutters toward the Harding Street side, they have a sign up that says no dumping, and I've not noticed a lot of dumping there. Are they doing it on the other side of the rail trail, or are they doing it actually on the access path?
I put the signs there
Oh,
like
you
years
put the
ago,
sign,
but, no, they're crossing, he's coming across with his wheelbarrow coming in from Colonial, crossing the rail trail and then dumping it on the left side there.
There's actually like a sort of a trail that keeps going into the woods.
It's the old hospital well house, so it's a well protection zone, and it's town property, and it is part of the reason why we have the problem with invasive species is, historically,
Oh,
is
sure.
where people used to dump stuff there, and it just continues. Not good.
Yeah, no, not good.
So you know which neighbor that is?
Yes.
The town does not. Is there?
I'll share it.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I'd be happy if they're doing it on town property, or if they're, for that matter, they're dumping off their own private property.
Yeah, that's not cool.
That's appropriate.
Yeah, the town should send them a letter probably and
Yeah.
Okay.
tell them to stop.
All right.
It's a police matter ultimately.
And so then what I could not hear when you were saying what the Girl Scouts, I get the low-lying table, like you see it in a lot of national parks. What are they gonna put on there?
The history of the railroad, and particular because it's going to be at the site of the old station on Farm Street.
And
And-
is that today, I just walked the rail trail yesterday, so when I cross Farm Street, there's like a little area where you can park a few cars?
Yeah, it's behind that in the woods, but that's where the station was. But there was, and I think it's no longer there, but there was this art project with the virtual reality. You could scan a QR code and you would see an old photograph of the station, and you could put people in it and so augment the reality with virtual information. I think that's no longer there, but that was one of those photos that I know exist of the station.
Okay. And other than that, I'm good. I mean, because I love what these guys are doing. I actually just walked the young man, Sean, that put in the mile markers,
Yeah.
sent an email to the three of us. I had a chance yesterday, which is why I wanted to walk it, because I wanted to see them in person. So if anyone sees the new mile markers, they're very tasteful, and they mark every quarter of a mile all the way down. So these projects are fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks.
So the Girl Scout thing is going to look like the Straw Hat Park sign, maybe?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you so much for coming.
I don't know if you mean a vote on that, or we have, okay to start these
Consensus,
projects.
I would think we vote on approving the project when it's presented to us.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you're seeing the
Well,
vibe
yeah,
here. They can
you're
come
on
and
a good-
present.
Okay, well, people are, they're making investments, they're
Yeah.
putting time in to start researching.
Yeah.
Would not be good to let them do all the work and then,
No, I think we-
and then not approve
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So,
assure them that the
all right.
fix is in, they're going to get approved.
Yeah, no, well, the project when presented,
Tell
but
us
right
what
now,
they're
they
doing,
definitely
yeah.
have our support to come.
Okay.
And before you sit down, you said you had a question for me that you couldn't ask. What was it?
It was not for the gentleman who called, but about the process of approving these things, because you asked him about toxicity of the substance that they bring out, and which I appreciate. It's a great question. But taking his word, that it's not toxic or dangerous, I think we probably could do better than that. And I was just wondering if it would be possible to ask them for specs of the chemicals that they bring out. This is about the canvassing and not the application of pesticides. I understand that, but it would be for people to want to stay informed of what's coming. That might be helpful if we could.
And hopefully residents will know that there are non-pesticide ways of dealing with all of these things too. Mr. Sorrell?
Yeah, he alluded to the fact it was testing done in Massachusetts, so there's probably some oversight from DEP, or there could be, so.
So typically, in an industrial situation, what would happen is if you're using chemicals, you have a hazardous materials data sheet, I think it's called. If we want to be that, I recognizing that we get, if they weren't doing door-to-door and they were doing flyers, we wouldn't be talking to them at all. And so I take your point that it's important, but if we think it's important to be that formal with people who are doing door-to-door as opposed to everybody else who sells these services, then I would want to be sure we're having that material data sheet sent to people who are qualified to actually evaluate it. Simply having them reply, submit it doesn't do anything. It has to go to somebody. I was asking him the point blank question to get him on the record to say it wasn't that kind of stuff, so that if we ever got a complaint, then we know this is a company we don't want to let in.
Understood. Makes sense. Yep. All right. Thank you.
Cool, thank you, have a good night.
Thank you very much for coming. And I would just clarify one point, which is that as select board members, we don't run the town. Individually, we have no authority. We have to act as a board. Our next discussion item, discussion of pedestrian safety pilot project and resident feedback with input from Beta. Thank you for coming. You certainly caught the town's attention with the flex poles. We've heard a lot.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, thank you. Thank you for having me. Ken Ho with Beta Group.
Thank you for coming, sir.
Yes. How would you like me to proceed, Mr. Chair?
So we've invited Ken here to talk. Ken and Beta Group, as you know, did the design that we presented. We received the grant back in '22, got our authorization, I believe, the end of that year to proceed. We approved the contract and the concept for the plan. We started the first half of the install of the project last year. The flex posts were the second part. We had to wait for the weather over the winter to be able to install. I know we've received emails, both pro and con, for them, and all three of you had suggested that they've been in for several weeks. Let's have a conversation about how it's been going, and we asked Ken to be here in case there were any technical engineering questions.
So maybe you don't have to start here. Maybe I think I'm going to, if you'll allow me to start, Pete.
Sure, go ahead.
So the first thing is we've obviously heard a lot coming back in. Let me back up even beyond that. This project, as it was presented to us, actually originally about 3 years ago, because Sarah Raposa was actually the planner at the time. The purpose of the project was to improve pedestrian safety in the downtown area. Second objective behind that was related to the first objective, was to pursue approaches that would accomplish what's referred to as traffic calming. So in other words, trying to get people driving through the downtown area to be more cautious, more thoughtful, more responsible, and present fewer hazards to the pedestrians. So the whole concept behind doing this, first objective was to make it safer for pedestrians. Second objective was to make traffic driving through the downtown area safer for everybody. We had an initial concept that was presented to us for how the traffic calming part would work, which involves painting green areas around the major intersections, not changing the roads at all, but by painting green, just visually drivers would come see this green zone jutting out into the road and just almost subconsciously would be more careful because they would perceive the width of the road had narrowed down and they'd be more cautious. And that was when we first, I think, agreed to that basic concept. That was what was presented to us. Now, in the implementation, to Christine's point, last year, a number of things were done. There were realignments of the crosswalks, which made a lot of sense. That diagonal crosswalk that from the Unitarian Church over to 21 North, that requires people to be pedestrians to look in all three directions.
Yeah.
And if they're coming from the Unitarian Church, to step out from the hood of a car that was parked right at the crosswalk and hope that the driver coming down North Street would see them, or they would see the car before they were out in the. There were some good reasons to simplify the process for pedestrians, and now we have two crosswalks, one that goes straight across North and then one that crosses Janes Avenue, which I think is an improvement.
I think all the crosswalks are an improvement, and the flashing signs.
I agree with you.
The drivers don't see the pedestrians and don't stop for them, unfortunately.
And the reason I'm bringing that up is this was a total project, and there are a number of things that have actually happened that I don't think anybody is challenging as being useful. The one that I think is one of the biggest ones for me is the crosswalk at Needham Bank with the flashing lights. Because for years I've watched people anywhere from the pizza parlor down to the railroad tracks basically choose their preferred jaywalking site and hope that as they walk out from between the parked cars, somebody will slow down and let them go. So now we have an actual crosswalk that's half the distance between those other two crosswalks, and I think that's been a huge improvement. So there's a lot of, in the big picture, there's a lot of good things that have already happened around doing this. The one thing that is of big debate right now is the white flex posts that are outlining the crosshatched areas, which basically they really are narrowing the roads, as opposed to the green that makes it look like the road's narrower so that people just are more cautious. These things, to the extent there's posts there guarding the crosshatches, they really are narrowing the roads. And we've obviously gotten a lot of feedback from drivers who don't like the posts.
Yeah.
But we've also gotten feedback from pedestrians who appreciate what the posts do for them in terms of enabling them to use the crosswalks more safely in town. So it goes both ways.
Right.
What we're trying to do right now is to say, how do you take all that feedback in, process it, and adjust what we do? And so the reason you're here is not to be the target for all the slings and arrows. The pitchforks are ours. The slings and arrows may be yours at some point, but that's not really why we brought you. What we wanted to do is to have a conversation with people who are here, people who are online. I don't think we'll solve the problems tonight. I think what we're going to do is hear them to the extent that you can offer solutions or ideas about possible solutions in this discussion. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Some actions have already been taken to remove some of the posts that were more aggressively placed than they probably needed to be, that actually really we know have created problems. I have some opinions about certain posts that seem to be serving no purpose at all except to make it harder for people to pull into or out of parking spaces.
Yep.
On the other hand, maybe there's some posts that are helpful to pedestrians that we shouldn't automatically. So that's just to set the stage. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
So I do have a question for you, Ken.
Sure.
Since
Yes.
they've been installed, have you had a chance to actually drive around and kind of we did it, let's see, this is our first meeting since the 28th. We did it the 29th, because at that select board meeting, when we found out Mo and crew were just going out that night, we're like, oh, we're gonna wake up to some calls in the morning. And we did, and some of the things have been tweaked. But have you had a chance to see what's been done and
Yes, I have. When I heard that there was some concern, I drove the whole area myself and taking pictures and I sent it to my team. And but I do want to, kind of bring everyone back to the funding source, right? That pays for this from DOT. So the funding source is called the Share Street really encourage safety for all, vehicle, pedestrian, bikes. And if it's anything else, is to encourage health, right? People to walk, downtown and all that. So
Ken, is that Mass DOT money or is it federal money?
That is, the funding comes from federal, and it's kind of divided up, among other funding sources. So the Share Street and space funding, it's just, they carve out, an amount just for communities such as Medfield that applied for it. And 107 is a perfect location because the minute when they look at the traffic volume, the area that we're looking at, you're looking at 16,000 cars per day. If you go further east, the volume gets higher. It could be like 18,000. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of cars going through there. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of wide open, approach, intersection. So if you notice the design that's being, put together out on the street today, they're all quick built. If you go to the program itself, that it's low cost, quick built. It doesn't take, digging out the roadway, backholders coming in, but yet achieve the safety that we're looking for. So every intersection that you've looked at, there are two very key distinct features. One is intersection have wide radius cornering. So you can see what we call is the bump out. We try to push it out. So to encourage traffic calming, right? We want cars to slow down, especially when they're making turns. And on top of that, we are reducing the crosswalk length. Mm-hmm. On the average, if you walk along the section that we looked at, your crosswalk range from 40 to 45 feet in length. That's a lot of exposure for pedestrian crossing, 16,000 cars per day. So every approach, if you notice, we push those little, flex poles out, and it reduces the length of the crosswalk fairly significantly. Mm-hmm. So that protects, a pedestrian while they are waiting, give them more room, and reduces walk time exposure of cars, so those are the two key things. And of course, slowing, car making the turn. And the most important thing is emergency vehicle. We want to make sure that, whatever we're designing, that could still maintain, so emergency vehicle could really go through the intersection and making turns. And there's a reason why they call it flex poles, and it's perfectly okay for emergency vehicle to run over them, and then they just bounce right back. So in a nutshell, that's really the goal of the project, to provide safety for pedestrians, calming traffic when they make radius. Are there features that we could soften out there? Yes, of course. If there's an area that we need to soften the curve, bring it back a little, the answer is yes. These are just quick built, and they certainly could be adjusted accordingly. So we, that something that we could do. We could revisit each intersection and see if there's anything that we could adjust, and to make it so that it is still safe. That we're providing for pedestrians and car, giving that traffic calming features.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's very helpful. Any questions, Gus?
I do, but I'm thinking because this is sort of a group discussion, maybe we should just open up rather
I
than
think, yeah,
us.
Well, why don't we have our questions first, and then we'll go to the public.
Well, the only.
So do you have any?
Well, I have ideas and I have questions, but I'd rather offer those after the public's had a chance to
Okay.
talk.
Yeah, and I think the only question I would have, but then I'm going to defer, because I'm sure the resident's going to bring up, there are a couple of key intersections that were red flags right away.
Yeah.
Upham, we already took care of.
Yeah.
I think there's one pole left.
Yep, I saw that, yeah.
I've heard from multiple residents that if you're on 109 and you're heading east,
Yep,
and you have Brothers Market on the right,
yep,
to take that turn, if you're a school bus driver in the morning trying to get to either the
Yeah.
middle school, it's in such an angle that you're now forcing the bus driver to go across the double line into the oncoming traffic. And so I don't know, how to adjust that. And I'm gonna say personally, that's the one intersection, I mean, those of you who know me, I had one dog that passed away in October. For 13 years, I live in Metacomet, I walk uptown almost every day.
Yeah.
So that's the one intersection, as a resident,
Yeah.
I never actually would walk across that. I wouldn't go from Brothers to the church. I used to,
Yeah.
just because it's such a bad corner, cars
Yeah.
almost clip me.
Yeah.
I always go down, I'd go past the parking lot for Brothers, cut across and then go back up towards 109. So I understand why we did what we did, because now you can literally like stop and a
Yeah.
car can't clip the corner.
Yeah.
Because what had been happening is there are artificial lanes being created. Because people could come behind somebody. So now someone's going down 109, heading towards Westwood.
Yeah.
And the car behind them, prior to these white posts, could sneak behind them and bang the right? As a pedestrian trying to cross, which is why for years, I just wouldn't do it, because I almost got clipped one night, because
Yeah.
the guy, I didn't think he would go. I mean, like, you're not supposed to cut behind a car, a right on red, wait till it's your turn to do it. So I understand why we did what we did, but I think
Yeah.
we need to look at how we soften that, so
Sure.
the bus drivers aren't being impacted,
Yeah.
and the drivers. The other one is coming out of Pleasant Street, so that the bank is on your left,
Yeah.
the library's on your right. It's another unique cut, because if you are a larger vehicle, we're again artificially pushing people into the lane. And I think that's the one thing I've heard, and I look forward to hearing the public in a moment, that as much as we're concerned about pedestrian safety, we also have to worry about just people, even driving slowly, the engineering angle creates the turn to have them cut into the oncoming traffic in the other lane. So it would be interesting to hear from you which ones we might be able to modify to tuck that in a little. So maybe we make the crosswalks a little bit long, like if they were 45, we made reducing the angle some.
So this is at the intersection of Pleasant North, right?
Yeah, Pleasant, well, I call it Pleasant and 109, because
And
it's.
109,
yeah.
okay. And which direction are you?
So so that you have the bank on your left.
Yes.
And the library on your right, there's a
Right.
light right there.
Yes,
And so if you're trying to take a right on 109,
yeah,
so now you're right in front of the library, it's
Gotcha.
a little tight there, the way the posts are,
gotcha. Yep,
okay?
got it.
So I wouldn't be intrigued to hear that conversation, is what we might be able to tweak there.
Okay.
But I mean, I think the ones personally in front of Starbucks, I know people are frustrated because we're creating a backup, but it goes exactly what you're talking about. We're trying to calm the traffic,
Right.
that there's still plenty of room. I was there coming home the other morning for trucks to take that turn the way they're supposed to. And if they have to clip a little bit of the flex pole, you're saying that's okay.
Yeah, it is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of the flex poles,
Yeah.
that you could, especially if it's a larger vehicle,
Yeah.
if they have to do a little encroachment, and that's okay. Yeah. So I did, when I was here, I park at Starbucks, and I spent quite a bit of time at the intersection.
Okay, good.
And so I did notice that that corner, where the library is. So we'll take another look at it to make sure, to see if we could soften that little curve there.
Ken, one other thing I'll throw in, at least on how I think we need to look at it, this may not be within your scope of the contract, but there also are some issues. There were some points brought up in the social media conversations, which I'm in agreement with, that I think we need to look at. So if you're coming down North Street to Main and you want to
Yeah.
take the right now it's a right turn after stop.
Yeah.
People don't do that, and even if they do, they don't check the pedestrian crosswalk at the bank. So what they're thinking about is the fact that they know the eastbound traffic on 109 has a left-hand turn arrow for a few seconds before the westbound traffic has a
Right,
green light.
right, yeah.
Just last week, I was driving east on 109, turning left onto North Street, and in the time that I made the left turn onto North Street with a left arrow, two cars hit that intersection, didn't slow down at all. It was like you wouldn't even go that fast if you'd had a yield sign.
Yeah.
And they made that right turn without any slowdown at all. So I actually think that we're going to have to revisit the right turn on red at North Street, even though I know it's going to
Okay.
back up North Street. The other idea that was thrown out there.
But before you leave that one, I mean, that was just an enforcement issue.
No.
The police need to make sure that people are stopping on
No,
red.
unless you want to devote a police officer to be there 100% of the time, it's not. It's a traffic control issue. You just say you can't make, you don't let people make a right turn on red onto South Street. That's less dangerous than making the right turn on
I
red.
agree.
at
I
North
think we
Street.
should have right turn on red on South
Well,
Street.
so we'll have that discussion. My point is that to me is in bounds for our discussion about what, or the town's discussion about what needs to be done. The other thing that came out in the social media that I'm sympathetic to, unless there's reasons why it doesn't work, is on the South Street 109 intersection, some people have said, look, mark it, if you shouldn't block the box, mark the box.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. I don't know that it's going to help, because I can tell you when I come to these meetings, I come out Brook Street, take a right, and when I get stopped at that red light, I can't see whether more than the one car, if I'm the second car in line and we get a green light, I'm thinking, well, two cars ought to be able to make it through the intersection. I'm just trying to get to Janes Avenue. And you can't see past, especially if it's an SUV, you have no idea what the lights farther down the street are doing. So there's times when one car goes and they don't even make it all the way across the intersection, and I was following them because it was the start of the green light, and then I'm praying that the other green light turns green, or the other light turns green, so I can get the heck out of the intersection. But marking the box, I think, would actually help get people to think about it.
The state just got approved that grant, which Matthew applied for, and that grant specifically, deal with traffic timing
Yeah, so it's
along
huge.
the
Right.
corridor,
I
how
hope
we
that'll
could
help. Right.
improve it. So I think
Right.
the no turn on red, and we're gonna look into all that too,
Right.
as part
Okay.
of that grant.
The traffic pattern one is huge. When I got wind that we finally got that, I've talked to the chief 2 years ago and realizing that the traffic lights going down 109, even though we may own the traffic lights, we can't change the pattern. So it's frustrating what you just saw. I mean, I live on Metacomet, so for me to get here, I sat through 2 lights and I only had 1 car in front of me, right? So it's silly that we're that backed up. But the problem is, and this is what we can't change right now, is when the light at South Street goes green,
Yep.
the light at North is red. So there's no way these cars can go, and if
Yeah.
it's already backed up, I just saw somebody get a ticket this afternoon when I was walking my dog. I was like, oh, that person, they took it anyways, and then they took the left even though there was no room,
Yeah.
and then the light went, the full cycle.
Yeah.
And we just can't have that. But the only other thing I'd like to bring up, and I don't know how we solve this one, like, if these things weren't so white and bright. Well, I mean, it's like, but if we make them so they're camouflaged, okay, that defeats the purpose because you're not seeing them. So, and I kind of like the idea that we were gonna do that green thing and it didn't play out. But I think that's just something we can noodle. I don't know what we do. I really don't know what we do, knowing that they have to be seen, they can't be camouflaged. And if they were orange, if they were red, if they were some obnoxious color, it would look even worse.
So I can explain the color a
Okay.
little. I know white doesn't sound like it's a popular color right now. So the flex poles, as you had indicated, they come in different colors. So sometimes you see them in yellow, right? So the reason, most of the time we use yellow, we have to match, So if you notice, you're driving on the highway or roadway, on the left is always yellow, right? The double yellow center line.
Yes.
So if those flex poles happen to be installed, between a double yellow center line, so they'll be yellow, right? So in this case, it's white because on the right, you always need to have a white line. So that's why they're white.
Yeah.
And then construction zone, you can see orange because that's the typical. So that's how we usually, match them. But sometimes you can see them in stripe too.
Yes.
They could be in stripe, so.
They come in
yellow
light blue?
stripe.
Medfield blue?
No.
At a price, I'm sure you can get them.
That's why they are white, what
it's
you see out there.
One other point about them, I was talking to a resident here in town who was talking about, I'm going on 109, I wanted to turn on Janes Avenue. This is because of all the posts that are there.
Yeah.
And he said, I had a hard time figuring out where the opening was. And I tried it, and I understand what happens. If you're driving, and you're using your peripheral vision to pay attention to the posts, and then you have the cross-hatched white. What happens is you have 45-degree angle white stripes interspersed with vertical white stripes you don't differentiate the stripes on the ground from the stripes, the poles. And it is actually visually a very complex thing because you've got this cross-hatching. And if you're paying attention to it, sure, you figure it out. But if you're just using your peripheral vision because you're watching the road,
Yeah.
it's a very distracting image having crosshatches matched with vertical white poles. You can't figure it out, especially when there are, like Christine's already heard me, we don't need any posts on the town hall side of that intersection because James Avenue is one way. Nobody's coming out that direction.
Right.
All you're doing with those posts is making it hard for people to pull into the parking spaces in front of town hall. But so some of them could go away, but I will say that when you match white posts with white crosshatching,
Yeah.
when it's a peripheral vision thing, it's just a completely confusing image. So,
Yeah, the white hatch mark that you see, those are very standard industry design. And, you know, the intent is to bring out that area, you know, for
but
drivers.
here's the problem with that. If the reason we did stuff on the streets was traffic calming so that pedestrians could be more comfortable stepping out, with the green, they could do it. With crosshatching, if I'm a driver and I'm parked in front of Brothers and there's no posts that are keeping me from pulling forward from that very first parking space, I view crosshatching as something I can't park in. But if I need to go over crosshatching before I enter into traffic, I can do it. I don't see as a driver that crosshatching is an area I can't drive on. I just see it as an area I can't park on. So if we're using the crosshatching as the designation to replace the green that was supposed to be making it easier for pedestrians, I don't think crosshatching works very well. If you see what I'm saying.
I think I understand where you're coming from, yeah. But from an engineering standpoint, you know, whether it's the green, solid green, or the cross-hatching, it's really to define an area that cars are not supposed to drive over those areas.
Right.
That's the technical or legal federal highway, you know, design standard, so. But I could see people could be, you know, confused or, you know, from a perception standpoint, driving through the area.
So the thing that I liked the best, Ken, that you said was that we're keeping the pedestrians in the travel way, less time now and less distance, so we're clearly making it safer for the pedestrians, so.
Yes.
And I understand that from what you've reported to us, that you're gonna keep examining this and you're gonna basically titrate it down to whatever makes the most sense. My only question really is, at this point, is what happens come winter? Do we leave these up, or do we take them all down so we can plow?
No,
Oh,
they come down for the winter.
Yeah, typically they come down
Yeah.
in the winter because of plowing. And
Yep.
it'll be a nightmare for a plower to try to.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Most like they're down.
Right.
Okay. So do we have any questions?
If you
Mr.
do, just make sure you use the mic. And it's not that it's going to amplify in the room, but it helps with Medfield TV so people at home and online can hear it. Just name and address.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Colleen Tierney, 14 Headers Hill Road. I don't have anything planned. I thought this was going to be packed. Because
Well, there are people online, to be fair.
Okay, I hope so, because in my circles, it's like protest the pylons. Like, that's all we talk about at the bus stop and on the sidelines. I don't know. I totally understand that we're protecting the pedestrians, but it's just making it so much more dangerous for the drivers. my daughter just got her license, and I am scared to death to have her drive downtown. We happen to have a big car, so, and I know that they can bounce, but I don't know, they could also scratch your car. I don't know. They're just, I just find them not to be practical at all. And it's mainly, like there was an ambulance and I was like, oh geez, am I gonna hit things like that. Like when you have to pull over, yes, I know you're not supposed to drive on those parts. I get that, but there's times where you do need to scoot over. It just, to me, I feel so strongly. I hope that they come down. I think they're very dangerous. And I don't think they're traffic calming. It has doubled my commute. I live on Hatters Hill, right across from the Chipotle. It takes me 20 minutes to pick my daughter up in the center of town. Like, she goes to school at Montrose. 20 to 25 minutes. Used to be 15. Now it's like borderline 25. She'll be, where are you? Where are you? I'm like, I swear I left 20. Anyway, I just thought there was going to be like a big crowd here. So I don't have anything prepared. I just think.
It's okay.
Do you have any thoughts? So again, remembering that the number one priority for this whole initiative was to improve pedestrian safety. Do you have any thoughts on what we could do instead of what we're doing that would make it safer?
I mean, it is helpful. I will say it's been helpful to hear, you know, it is helpful to hear, okay, less time on the crosswalk. This is helpful. Calm my anger. I see that the purpose. But do they have to be so tall? Do they have to, like you said, jut out so much? Like, I don't think they need to completely take that lane over. Like, even just visually being there, hugging the curb, like along the curb, is helpful. Like, but to jut out like they do, I just think there's gonna, if I had to predict, it's gonna cause more accidents, way more car accidents. Whether people get hurt or not, I don't know, but you might be it's like solving one problem for pedestrians and creating a whole nother problem for cars. And it just makes it, and it's just sad. We have such a pretty town. We have such a pretty downtown, like beautiful buildings, like the town hall building. It's like Frosty the Snowman. And now it's so sad to me. It's just very sad. So anyway, so I don't even want to park downtown anymore. So I don't know. I'm just trying to be a voice for like the people that I've talked to. It's a bunch. I don't mean to whine.
Downtown was now very ugly and looked like a city to me that I didn't want to be in. Growing up in Lynn, I appreciated coming here so much, and it felt like I was back in the city. Question I had was, to shorten the distance you need to cross, you would need to stand out by the pylon in the street. That can be run over by a car. It seems like to encourage people to step out into the street another 5 feet when people have. Everyone I see is very patient waiting for the crosswalk thing. Like I said, I grew up in a place where you would never do that. Here, it seems like people pay attention to, and the kids are so patient waiting until, okay, now I can cross, and they do it. And I don't see the danger that caused, this kind of change to the look of the downtown. So that was a question I had about how do you
The funding grants specifically, if you go online and look at it, these are quick built, right? So if there's an intersection where it's working, you can make this permanent. So permanent is you physically extend the curb, physical curb. So the idea behind bumping out and reducing the crosswalk length serves two purposes. As I mentioned, is now time being exposed to cars. They are actually stepping out to give them a better visibility of car coming, approaching that.
Yeah.
Because versus when you are way back here, car park, and you can't even see, So the idea is to give them better visibility for the pedestrian and also for cars that's going by that could see that.
If you move that curb out, and I see that in Millis, which I hate seeing those curbs come way out, now you can't have your emergency vehicles driving over those, right? Where you said they could go over the pylon. So I don't know if there's a trade-off there that is worth looking
Jim,
at.
the place where I differ on my perception of what is there on those is that I don't think people say, oh, it's just a plastic flex post, I guess I'll mow it down. Oh, there's a pedestrian there. What it is that because you see the post, you know it's not a place to drive, and then when a pedestrian walks out to inside the post, to Ken's point, the pedestrian can look. The place that point drives home the most for me is the old intersection in front of the Unitarian Church, where at that point in time, there was actually a parking spot right up against the crosswalk. Now, I've lived here so long, anytime I approached that crosswalk, I slowed way down because I wouldn't know. I would slow down slow enough that I could look over the hood of the car that was parked there to make sure there wasn't somebody on the sidewalk who was about to step across, because there's no way you're going to see them until they step out from in front of the car that's parked there, and then they're in your lane. So I actually think the posts do help. They certainly reduce the length, the distance that they have to walk, but it also allows someone to get out there. It's not a steel post like you have in front of some stores to prevent people from driving through their plate glass windows, but the fact that the post is there, people are not going to drive and try to cut the corner.
I was just thinking that the curb caused a little more safety for someone than a flex post.
But then, I think you're right. It creates its own problems, either for safety vehicles or for. I've hit curbs before that didn't have bright yellow paint on them when I was leaving a parking lot because I had no idea there was going to be a curb there, and you wind up hitting it. So that creates. Then I think it does create danger for cars to at least get damaged. So.
I do appreciate, I think, all of the things done and having this ability to have the feedback in the process.
Any more comments?
Bob Herbst, 29 Maple Lane. My problem is, and I think safety number one is the most important. However, my wife and I do a lot of walking. We're waiting on the curb to cross, either North Street or at 27, okay? The light changes. We are not even 3/4 of the way across, and the walk person goes away off the light. Granted, you have 16 seconds with the orange flashing light as a warning, but still, I don't think it's 5 seconds, 5 or 6 seconds until that white walk sign goes away. That to me is a big problem. That also could enhance the safety of people, making that light longer. Number two, when you're coming on North Street into town, down from the north, and you have that left-hand turn onto 109, when that light turns solid, well, it is solid green, but when it changes, and there's cars coming out of Pleasant Street, those cars keep turning and turning. Multiple times, I've laid on the horn saying, you're supposed to stop. I've asked for that light to be changed to an arrow that has a green arrow and then a red arrow to stop those cars from turning. That's my concern, are the lights. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Since you're going to have.
Just a quick question on that one. If we did that, so we've got 2 lanes on North Street going in. The way it's set up right now, the left lane is to go straight onto Pleasant or to take a left onto 109. The right lane is only a right onto 109.
Correct.
If you had a red arrow on the left lane, recognizing that there's cars that are both turning left and going straight.
Right.
If there was a left arrow and the cars couldn't turn left, anybody going straight couldn't go straight.
Good point. But however, like I said, those cars just keep barreling right, making that left-hand turn, no consideration for the cars.
I'm with you there.
It's a tough nut to crack.
Well,
I
it's
agree.
basically, it's fine. Every morning I go to Kingsburg Club, every morning I'm at that light somewhere around 7:40. Every morning somebody does exactly what you say. And that's just driver's ed 101. Like when that light is green, you can go right and go in front of the library. You can go straight.
Right.
But if the other light across the way is green, you don't have the right to cut somebody off,
Exactly.
right? But that's driver's ed 101. Like every morning I'm like, I don't know who taught that person to drive, but you don't have the right to cut somebody off. The right of way is the person coming at you. So I don't know how a light changes that. I swear to God, it's such a frustrating situation.
I do know how you do it. I do know how you do it.
Yellow
You go like out in Needham, I guess it is, when, I'm trying to think, Honeywell or something, when you take a left there, you have a green arrow when it's a true green arrow. When the oncoming lane has green, that goes to a flashing yellow arrow. So it's not a red arrow, it'd be a flashing yellow
You're right,
arrow.
and that's all, on 109, going out towards, Bellingham, they have yellow lights on those left-hand turns
Yeah,
off of.
yeah, they do.
That's a great idea.
The I gotcha is gonna be unique is because it's a single lane, you don't have a turn lane.
Yeah.
Right, so if there's a way, and the chief says she always watches this, so as we go to redo this traffic study and the lights, if there's a way to update that light, so that so there is a way to add the flashing yellow arrow, because if I'm going straight, it's still green light to me. The yellow arrow is irrelevant. But if and a lot of people, like, and again, I've lived in town for 26 years, I never go to the light to take a left on 109. I go around by APC, because I'm not afraid to go out. I mean, if you take your time, people are polite, you can go. But a lot of people don't like to do that. So there are quite a few people that take the left, and they're cutting people off.
Thank you.
Yeah, as part of that study, we're going to look into the permissive left that you have just identified. And we will also look into the adequacy of pedestrian crossing time.
Timing.
Yeah, that is a little
also
short, Ken.
The clearance time, when the walk should stop and when cars should start, moving.
And Ken, if you watch it enough, a lot of people do it. In New York City, you don't cut across, right? You go across and you wait and you go again. In Medfield, people just diagonally cut across.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not wrong, it's just that, to your point, it's such a short light for a signal to see what's going on.
Yep.
That it would be great if that white hand stayed there, even if it did a countdown to 0, but it let the person who's walking know that that there's still time, and that hopefully there's a delay before any of the lights change.
Yep.
That's down to 0.
Yeah.
3 or 4 second delay, and then a light changes, so you're good to go.
That's exactly what we would do, to hold everyone so it's all red,
Okay.
for at least 2 to 3 seconds.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Kathy Herb, 29, Maple Lane.
She can tell us stories about you, I bet.
My concern is that with those poles up, that allows the pedestrians, I think more of the children, as adults we should know better, but the children now they can walk out into the street to where those poles are to look to see if the cars are coming. In the winter, we're taking all those poles down.
Creating a bad habit.
Yeah. What do we do then?
Yeah.
No, just my thought.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
Anyone online?
Thank you.
Anybody raised their hand online that wants to talk, or?
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay.
Hi, I'm Veronica Mulvihill, 10 Westview Road. And my one suggestion would be, can we make the crossing light longer? Downtown.
When you're coming
Especially like
down
you said.
north, no right?
Yeah.
None.
Okay.
Any intersection with 109 in downtown, it's too dangerous. Some of them have.
Yeah.
Park back here. I know. We're fine with that.
I go to Starbucks. When you come out of Starbucks onto 109, you can only go right.
No,
Just stop.
No, people go left.
In the right mind to try to cross.
you would be
agree with
surprised.
And hence, here we go, the conversation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd be in Florida.
Oh, wait a minute.
too. Thank you for coming to your grandchildren.
My son.
Can I ask you, why are you asking this? That question?
Well, because I just have known other people that have lived on Maple Lane, is it? And they came to Medfield because their grandchildren were in town, too.
Oh, this isn't the first time we've come to Medfield.
Okay.
We lived here before, and then we went to Florida, and then we came back.
We're glad you're here.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Graduate of our Citizens Academy.
I know she did. I love that.
Yep.
You start talking about Florida, I'm thinking maybe we make the downtown a golf cart only zone.
Or you could do like in Naples where they made the main road 12 lanes.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
They're crazy drivers.
And it works.
Yep.
Chicago has the Dan Ryan Expressway that's like that, too. So online,
Okay. A question from KD. What are the top 3 or 5 pedestrian safety and/or traffic calming measures that might be considered that do not involve posts at all?
Construction. And, traffic timing, you can control timing, and that's certainly a very, attractive options. And sometimes it's consolidating crosswalk, right? Do you need to have 10 crosswalk in a short area, right? You're better off just consolidating where what we call is the pedestrian desire line, which location is the best location for everyone, so they could get from A to B. So the less crosswalk, the less conflict that you have with vehicle. So those are just some of the features that you could consider.
Could you do, I don't know, oops, sorry, go ahead, Gus.
I was just in Somerville for dinner on Friday night, and what they do there, I think it's almost excessive, but it's almost like for those who ride, if you know what an Irish bank is, it's not a speed bump like we think. You're going to be more careful of it because you're not sure what to expect. So there were a whole lot of those in Somerville. They were a really pain in the neck, and you're already only going 15 miles an hour just because of the way the traffic was. But that would be the other thing that you could look at, I think, in some of the intersections.
There are criteria that govern any vertical device, traffic volume, for example. On the road, that we would recommend anything that's raised, and the emergency responder has a big say in any community that consider any raised device. So that's also important to consider.
I think when we've ever talked about speed bumps, we've always talked about the potential liability of the town if a car goes over a bump too hard and then, has its exhaust pipe ripped out. But with those kind of platforms, at least that doesn't happen because you're only going up and then you're flat and then you're going down.
Correct.
So you don't get that immediate up and down.
Right.
Could you consider So you know the way they install the new sidewalks, when you get to the sidewalk, it's like a bumpy surface, so someone who's blind knows that they've reached the other side?
Yeah.
Could you, and Mo, I don't know if this would work because this might impact snow plowing in the winter, but something that is alerting the driver, like when you go, I know coming north on 495, getting off at 95, there's like that ripple in the pavement. If you start to go too close to the side of the road, you can feel it in your car. Is there a way to do something like that with some of these corners so that?
We have done, I think, Westwood, if you drive Canton Street, that's a very popular traffic calming design that we have done.
Okay.
And we provide those feature that you described, in terms of the curb, right? So we don't create a physical granite curb. So what we did was a special treatment area that has bumps, so if a car drive over it, tells them that, hey, you're driving too close.
Yeah.
For emergency vehicle and buses, they can just drive over it.
Yeah.
No big deal. So we do have those features that we could, again, those are more permanent,
Yeah.
not quick built
Yeah.
type of, infrastructure.
Okay. And would that, Mo, for you, create havoc? Because I know today the beauty of these poles, you unscrew, you're good to go, and you can start plowing. If we did something like that to the texture of the road?
No, the only thing is when we use our plows, we have a lot of down pressure. We would hate to rip anything up that we install. So that's why when we do line painting, you see a lot of different towns have the thermoplastic line painting. We don't use thermoplastics only because it's very expensive. And trying to get down to the bottom of the road, it'll get ripped up in 1 year, which should last 5 or 6 years.
Right. That would be the only thing that would be detrimental to, like, I think that wouldn't be a bad idea, but I know that's a problem we'd run into in the winter.
So in other safety things, my favorite safety thing are roundabouts. And there's a town in the UK that I wrote about in my blog where they had a very busy couple of streets running through their downtown, and they just did a series of roundabouts through the downtown, slowed all the traffic down. They didn't even need pedestrian crosswalks after that because the cars were going so slowly that people could just step off the curb and the cars would stop because they were going slow enough they saw them. And so the other issue is that we have a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit on 109, and so that people are going a good clip when they get come into town from Westwood, unfortunately.
Yep.
So we could look at lowering that speed limit, I think, is another safety issue.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Through the center of town, it's not 40, though.
Yeah, through the center of town is 25, but the outskirt is 45.
Yeah, you've got people.
Yeah, but we don't have the white poles there, so I'm not so concerned about that.
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, Chris Potts, 7 Curve Street. I think, I'm kind of wearing my Historical Society hat, and I've been taken by Richard DeSorga's comments about the poles. I think I'm most sensitive about those in the historic district of the downtown area. And I think I don't know whether in your other work, whether you've looked at other historic districts to find things that were more in keeping with the character of a historic district. It was interesting, I was doing some research before I came, and they talked about the historic use of cobblestones as traffic calming measures. So I just think it might be worth it for us to explore those as well. They don't bother me outside of the historic district. It's really just, in that section in front of the townhouse between north and south that they're just really jarring. So I just figured I'd mention that.
Chris, my view on what we should do, at least in the short run, is I think there's a great opportunity to remove a lot of the poles that aren't actually doing leaving poles at particularly important intersections where it's difficult for pedestrians. So I'm probably talking at most 2 posts on either side of a crosswalk, as opposed to like in front of Brothers, the entire crosshatched area, there's 6 to 8 poles that have nothing to do with the crosswalk that outline the crosshatched area. You could just get rid of all of those. The posts in front of the town hall serve no purpose. Those could all go away. And what
I can do it right now.
You could get to the point where if people see those posts, they know it's because that's an entrance to a crosswalk, and that's all it is. It's not going to be anything besides that. And at least in the short run, it seems to me that would be one thing we would be able to do that would address, see, I'm looking at saying some people, the issue here is an aesthetic issue. Some people, it's a driver convenience issue, and some people, it's a pedestrian safety issue. And we're hearing all three of those points being made here. We could deal with some of the aesthetic issues by getting
so I'm going to read one by one, and I think we should answer each one, otherwise I think it's going to get confusing. So Catherine Thorpe, 115 South Street. Did you take into consideration how the elimination of parking spots along 109 would impact the town?
So I don't know that we eliminated.
So we did eliminate fully one spot. I think I know what Catherine's speaking to, so Catherine, raise your hand if I don't have this correct, but remove one. I think what Catherine is referring to is that this now forces parallel parking, and you can know, which has made some people upset that I've heard repeatedly today, especially about. I didn't take into consideration that people would no longer be able to pull in as directly, and I actually checked plans with Mo and Ken today. By Mass DOT for that. It was run as a test pilot, test project, so there should be no recourse for taking them out. But I don't know if you've ever seen DOT come back to do a reimbursable grant to take money back, but I've never seen it.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think, we did what we were told to do with the grant, the purpose and everything. If it turns out that doesn't work out, then, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
Another question?
We still have one more.
Oh.
Just piggyback
Third question, even though we received grant money for the pylons, did the grant money pay for the DPW workers to install them at night, or did the town?
So once again, I can answer this for you, Catherine. So when we had the company put the pieces in the roadway, it was too late in the fall, so we didn't put them out last fall because we would have had to pull them right back out for winter. So we did have to utilize DPW. That is also in relation to, over the last several years, we have now taken in crosswalk painting. We bought a sidewalk line painting machine to try and save money versus going out to the bid we had. And so we're trying to do that in-house. So we did have to pay for them to go out to put them in.
But they were updating the sidewalks at the same time, so it's good.
They were doing some of the crosswalks as well, which we have not finished yet either.
And the one point about that is that the actual receptacles for the posts, they're there. They are where they're at. So it's not like you can just unscrew them and drill a hole and screw them back in somewhere else. I guess maybe you could, but it would be.
You could reuse them.
Yeah,
You could
the
put them
options for
somewhere
where poles can go has kind of been
Yeah.
set. We could take poles out and not use some of those options.
else. In fact, somebody took it upon themselves yesterday to unscrew one and leave it for us at the town hall, so.
Yeah, see, that's the stuff that drives me crazy. It's wrong in so many ways.
Chris?
Yeah, sorry, just to follow up, and I think Christine pretty much partly answered that question. I can't remember, and I apologize, was the study specific to downtown? The grant money specific to downtown?
This was part of the rapid recovery plan, which also the recommendation was for the wayfinding plan, the pilot project for this, and I believe it was our downtown facade.
So it
Those
was
three were all in the rapid.
specific to downtown?
It was
Okay.
specifically for the downtown.
Because I'm on different streets, and I'm like, oh, it's too bad we don't have them here, like by the school crosswalks or things like that. So, okay, thanks.
Yep.
Brittany, any more?
There's someone with their hand raised. I'm going to allow Jennifer Jack to talk if you would like to ask your question. Jennifer, you should be able to ask your question now.
Hey, actually, this is Bill Jakes. No, and I'm on my wife's computer, and she was actually trying, but she was trying to get to the town hall and get in, and she couldn't get in, so she's actually driving back. She was driving there. And do you have to go in the back door maybe instead of the front?
It should all be open.
No, the front door should be unlocked.
It should all be unlocked.
Because it's,
Yeah.
Anyways, this is, it's Bill Jakes from 5 Sanders Way in Medfield. We've been here about 37 years. I know some of the things that you want to talk about, and I concur. You know, it's a historical town. I know folks have been saying this. It really takes away from that historical feel. You know, I think optimizing the lights would be great. I think optimizing the crosswalks would be great. The painting of putting green paint on the corners, you know, I think that might be good. I know just myself driving with a small utility trailer, I really struggle. I mean, the turns are so tight now with the pylons sticking out. It's very challenging. Have there been any studies, and I apologize if you guys have already talked about this, have there been any studies regarding the impact on the other streets in the area? Because people are avoiding downtown. So increased traffic. You know, because I know that I do it myself now. I mean, and Jennifer just got back here. So Jennifer's here now as well.
Yeah, I drove down to see if I could go talk. I told him, okay, fine. Yeah, I do it myself now too. I can't stand driving downtown. And so I'm guilty of trying to come down, you know, Park Street or,
I think there's going to be other streets that are impacted.
and I've noticed lots of other cars are doing that. And I feel badly for those neighborhoods now, but I think that's an unintended consequence, for sure.
I haven't seen it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's
Anybody else?
I don't see anyone else.
So Pete, I just want to make one comment. I just wanted to say to the residents, I'm not on social media, so whatever's said on Facebook is said on Facebook. It's not my thing. But the emails that I received, I thought were extremely tasteful. Yes, people did not like what's happening. They had a lot of great suggestions. They gave firsthand experience. But I just can't thank the residents enough. Like those thoughtful emails, that's what we're here for, right? We're here to listen, and that's why this conversation to me right now is extremely important. But, you know, that's what we're here for. So when there are questions or concerns, a thoughtful email I'll take any day of the week, twice on Tuesday. And, you know, I've got a town phone, that I'm more than happy to talk to people live. But I just want to personally thank people for the emails we received.
And I am on social media, and I'll give a shout out to Alex Stevens for his great newspapers that he does. I hope that once we get past this hurdle, he keeps publishing, because I howl at every one of them. It's great.
Alex Stevens turned the pylons into those things that are in front of the car dealerships that blow around. So, Ken, thank you so much for coming and educating us and telling us what's going on. I just had an unrelated question about I know that you're dealing with Mass DOT to try to get them moving on the roundabout at 27 and West. Are you making any progress with them?
I heard.
I was going to say, I gave Ken the
Okay,
update
yeah,
today.
yes.
You actually have an item on your agenda. The Commonwealth Mass DOT has sent us the standard contract to sign. So that standard contract, once you sign it tonight, will be sent back to them tomorrow. They have assured us they are putting it in the full contract package, which we should have shortly, and a notice to proceed for Beta to continue the design of Weston.
Okay, so that's your contract that's going to get, okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that, it'll be a contract with Mass DOT and the town, and Beta will be the contractor for that, but the
Good.
contract is between the town and Mass DOT.
Good. Thank you so much, Ken,
you're
for
welcome.
coming.
Before we move off this is a question for the three of us. I'm just trying to picture how we move forward from here. Ken, some of what you said made me sound like perhaps Beta's in a position to develop some thoughts. Given everything you've heard here, perhaps Beta's in a position to put some initial thoughts together on what we might do differently.
Yeah.
So that's one possibility. Originally, I was thinking that we might informally put a list of ideas together, refer it over to the Pedestrian and Traffic Safety Committee and ask them to kind of process to get to a recommendation. I didn't expect that we would get to a final set of recommendations tonight anyway. But based on what we've discussed here, I'm thinking if it's fair to ask for it from Beta, for you to take what you've heard here tonight and maybe what you've also read elsewhere, and if you could, not to nail you down on anything, but just to get some preliminary thoughts about what some of the best ideas might be, taking into account the feedback, taking into account the objectives that we have here. If that's a reasonable thing to ask for, I'm suggesting to my two colleagues here that might be a good step.
And it looked like you were taking better notes than any of us were, so.
Yes, I have plenty of notes, and
Okay.
I think that is reasonable.
Okay.
We do intend to, revisit some of these locations and see if we can do to soften the curve.
Yep.
Make someone trying to get access to a parking lot a little easier, and instead of backing in, can we sacrifice something, removing some of the flex poles so they could just pull right in? So we'll take a look at all that.
And it may be then what we want to do is have a follow-up conversation that if it may not be as, broadly seen as a formal public hearing, let's say, as this may have been, but that we basically review those ideas publicly and give everyone a chance to weigh in again.
Sure.
Is that- okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Ken.
Yeah, Ken, thanks for
You're
coming.
welcome.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you. Yep.
I would just follow.
very much.
Thank you for coming. I'll just follow up and mention that when I saw Alex Stevens, I called him an insurrectionist, and that I was going to see if the select board could argue by analogy to the dog statute, and that we would banish him from the town for inciting insurrection. Okay.
But some people on the select board kind of like insurrectionists. That's kind of.
So our next item is action items, board and committee appointments, except the resignation of Kate Pittman from the Dog Control Committee. Do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, vote to sign the standard contract with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for inclusion of the MassDOT Town of Medfield contract for the reconstruction of West Street and Route 27 intersection.
That is the one I just talked about and gave the update for Ken.
Yep.
Okay.
Motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. Number 7, vote to accept and authorize.
And before we get off that, just we voted to sign it. Is that town administrator sign it? That's one that's got that signature thing, so who's signing this? Is it?
So.
Both of you.
Both of us.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Okay,
They've changed this form on us, as you know, every time we fill it out, so.
right.
Just when we're
To
comfortable.
the point where I don't even know where we're supposed to
just fill
sign
it
it.
out
but
all
that's-
different ways and submit it and hope they
As long as
take
we don't
one.
have the same signatures on both options, we seem to be okay.
Next item is vote to accept and authorize the town administrator to sign the standard contract with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, $6,414.43 for the Student Awareness of Fire Safety, SAFE program, and $2,919.58 for the Senior SAFE program in FY26. Questions or motion?
I will move. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye, aye. Number 8, vote to sign the contract amendment with Beta for complete street sidewalk designs with an extension of the contract from June 30, 2026 to December 30, 2026, an increase in cost of $20,100 for the expansion of the scope of work of the Adams Winter Street sidewalk due to the presence of DEP map streamed and wetlands at the end of Winter Street. Questions or motion?
The only comment, I asked Christine about that, and the issue, for all those who care about Adams Street sidewalks, that doesn't change what the sidewalk plan is. It's just that part of the sidewalk is going over an area that has to go through a regulatory hoop to get the approval from an environmental standpoint.
Any questions? Yes.
Sure.
Just grab the microphone from
Yep.
Bill if you wouldn't mind.
Bill's right behind, yeah.
Kathy Herzog, 29 Maple. Didn't we know about the wetlands at the end of Winter Street before the contract was originally signed?
Is Mo still here? Is Mo still here? I believe they thought it was going to be outside the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission, and it's been deemed within the jurisdiction.
So now it's costing the town $20,000
Now we'll have to have
more?
$20,000.
Wow.
Could the Conservation Committee have waived this, or is this something that how did this come about?
I don't know, I can't speak for the Conservation Commission. And I'm sorry, I thought Mo was going to be here for the update on this, so I can have him write up something for you.
Okay, again, I don't recall seeing it on the agenda, okay.
That's a big
It's
miss.
fair to say we didn't anticipate a regulatory hurdle this significant, but
And I don't know, I don't have it off the top of my head. There may be contingency in the grant we received for the complete streets, so that may be included within the contingency. I'll follow up with Mo for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Defer or vote?
well, we'd have to, I don't think
I can ask if he's close by.
Do you want me
they
to
can
see?
do that,
Pam?
but the folks on Adams Street have been waiting for sidewalk for
I
years.
know, I really,
So I'm kind of, if it turns out we don't have to do it, then we wouldn't spend the money, but
Is that by the school, at the Elm Street School, or is it?
it's farther down,
it's
right?
a little farther down. It's the continuation of the sidewalk,
cemetery.
yeah.
Chris, is this the one across from the cemetery? Oh, no, Adam.
No, Adam
there,
Street.
Yeah, I was thinking of Dale.
No, no, no.
I have the sense it was close to the four-way intersection.
I think it's close to the intersection. But yes, the Adam Street residents have been waiting for several years for this project to begin.
So do we have a motion then?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 10, vote to authorize the town administrator to sign a new Medfield Community Electricity contract should the Community Choice Aggregation Committee agree to
Did we skip
supply.
9.
Oh, sorry. Vote to sign a contract amendment of $2,900 for the existing town contract with Weston and Sampson for a peer review of the Building 01 UPP Selection, Abatement, and Restoration Package, Medfield State Hospital. What is this contract?
So
So this-
building one is just the very first
the-
building.
Yeah, it's the tiny little one.
It's a house.
So Weston and Sampson is doing, they're doing peer review for the work that's being done at the state hospital. So we've asked them to peer review this abatement and restoration package that they'll be preparing. We don't have anybody on staff that can peer review this. So we're amending their contract to add $2,900 to have them peer review it as our experts.
All right, so moved?
Can I make a comment? Just, so I just was talking with Maria, and apparently because of the amount of funding that we were allowed at this particular time and everything else, they picked a smaller building. And I'm told that when we get further into the project, because I'm concerned about, as you know, about the asbestos issues and airborne asbestos, is that when they get further into the project here, they'll start doing these bigger buildings one at a time, because it's not going to get the money all at once. So I don't have any questions or anything else. I'm satisfied with what.
Move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 10, vote to authorize the town administrator to sign a new Medfield Community Electric contract should the Community Choice Aggregation Committee agree to a supplier's bid. Questions or motion?
Just a brief comment on this is that the Community Choice, Medfield Community Electricity, we've had a multi-year agreement to be able to provide the renewable energy under the town-sponsored program. It's actually saved people in town who are participating in it hundreds of thousands of dollars over Eversource Basic over the years it's been in place. But that contract is coming up. Will be ending, I think, at the end of this year or the beginning of next summer. So we're going through the process right now of needing to reissue a package. It'll be coming through for legal review here shortly. And the planned bid, now it's being released for bid in this month. And I think we're hoping to be able, assuming the conditions are right, hoping to be able to sign a new contract by June to take, to be ready to go into place when the existing contract ends. So that's what this is.
I actually did review some template contracts.
Yeah. So as this happened last time we did the first contract, is basically the package that's going out will be sent to you for review just to make sure it's legally adequate from a town standpoint. My guess is it's going to look an awful lot like the last one, but the DPU has made some changes around the plan, so maybe there's some things.
Your consultant has refined a pretty much final contract.
Right. Have you already gotten it from?
Yeah.
Okay, you've already got it. Okay.
So, question?
Yeah, so before it goes into effect, assuming you approve whatever the numbers are, the committee approves whatever the numbers are, before it goes into effect, will the participants get a notice of what's going to be happening? Or is it-
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's not just going to be,
anybody
guess
who's
what,
current-
you know, it just changed from X, Y, Z to Z.
Yeah, it's
Send it
not
in by Tuesday, you know?
Right, no, the communications will go out on how this is being changed and what's there. People will know what their, you know, what the,
Impact
if they're using more renewables than Eversource Basic, they'll know what that is, they'll know what the cost is. If I had to guess, I'd say it's harder to maybe get as big an advantage this time around, because more and more, but we still want to do it in a way that would save people money. So if it can't save you money, we're probably, there's kind of an option to kind of hold off, but not too long. If you hold off too long, then it's viewed as your program is dormant, and then you have to go through the whole DPU approval process again. So we're hoping that we'll be able to get to a reasonable bid, but we have some, if we didn't like what we saw in June, we could choose to wait till August, because we'd still have the existing contract in place.
Thank
All right. So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 11, vote to approve the FY26 affordable rents for Hillside Village and Aura 40Bs.
I'll just make a comment that I was happy to see they didn't go max to 5%, that they did some reasonable increases with the.
We all noted that. That was welcome.
awesome.
Yeah.
And if anyone's questioning that, they can go to the info packet and you'll see the whole layout of
I
what the.
did note, I think they said that if someone's already got a contract, that if they have it at a lower rate, they would, I think, bring everybody up to the agreement. So some people, even though the actual increase in the max rate is small, some people who are already below what the last approved rate was may see a bigger jump than what you saw in this package, just so you know.
But the rent is the rent. the
Right,
number. Yep.
right.
Okay, so moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 12, vote to declare miscellaneous damaged, obsolete police equipment under $10,000 surplus so it can be destroyed and/or disposed of.
So the list is at your seat. This is a full list of what they have. They've done a full listing of what was in the old equipment locker.
Good.
We're all in cleaning mode around here.
Yes, everyone is getting rid of old obsolete things,
Too
so.
bad they didn't have this in time for the COA yard sale.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or
One
the,
person-
what's
That's
your
actually
name?
a
Just had the
Spare
repair cafe.
vehicle siren?
It's treasure.
Golden opportunity for the Craftsman Shop Vac to go to the Repair Cafe.
Yeah,
Transfer station.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it all reads damaged, obsolete,
Yeah,
missing
most
pieces,
of it
not
is not
functioning,
working.
damaged, obsolete, damaged, yeah, so it's sadly.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what people would take.
I know the siren, you know, if you know anything about electronics.
So do we have a motion on this then?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. Number 13, vote to increase the spending limits.
Got a question?
Yeah, how are they disposing of
It depends on what it is. If it's an electronic, they do electronic recycling, or if it's just something that can be disposed of at the transfer station, they will dispose of it at the transfer station.
Yeah, the vehicle weapon
Like
mounts are
CPR
probably just scrap
mannequin?
metal.
I don't know, that could be used for Halloween. Bill, do you want him?
Can I have a copy of the list?
Yes, we'll put it online.
Number 13, vote to increase the spending limits of the following revolving funds. A, Community Garden Revolving Fund to $5,500. B, EV Charging Revolving Fund to $3,500.
And I gave Christina a heads up, I was going to just ask for a broad and general statement about how much money the town has made on the EV charging
I'll have to go
stations.
look at my.
Just ballpark, I think we're not.
2,800 is what we're looking at, so we wanted.
To the good?
Yeah, yep. We're welcome. Thanks to Christine charging in the back now.
Oh.
I'm doing my part, everybody.
Sure.
Christine is pulling her weight around
We
here.
were losing
finally.
money until Christine bought an EV.
So we're at about 2,800, I think, and the original limit was 3,000. So we just want to make sure we can.
Smart.
That's why we're raising the limit, is because we're making so much money.
So
we're hitting
much
the
money.
ceiling on the
Yeah.
original revolving fund limit.
Like I said,
That's
you're
good.
welcome.
All right,
So another question.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
heard you correctly, it's $5,500 for the community garden.
Yes.
Can you identify what that $5,500 goes for?
Yeah, so our water bills there have been increasing significantly, and so in order we're really close to the top. The original limit was 5,000, so we just want to make sure that we're within the limit.
Thank you.
No problem.
Everybody, since we just had town meeting. Town meeting sets the annual spending limits at town meeting, but the select board have the authority to raise those mid-year if they need to exceed that.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. Number 14, vote to approve a one-day wine beer
Those are all
license.
consent. The consent started.
Consent's on the very
Oh, I see, down at the bottom it says consent. The consent agenda has first a vote to approve a one-day wine beer license for a fundraising event for child programs at beginning years to be held May 15th from 5 to 7 p.m.
I would point out that's at the Dwight Derby House, but it's run by
To approve a one-day wine beer license for Eva Kendrick's Voice Studio Generations concert on Saturday, June 6th, 6 to 10 p.m. Wine service 6 to 7 and 9 to 10 only. Next, vote to approve request to post signs at the usual locations for Medfield's Children's Center pop-up on May 16 for the days leading up to the event. Next, and finally, vote to approve request to post signs for New in Town's Touch a Truck event on May 16 for the days leading up to the event. Do we have questions or a motion to approve those?
I'm good. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any citizen comments? No. Meeting minutes? I don't remember approving the meeting minutes, so.
What do you mean?
So we got them from Cameron.
We got him, you said you had him last time, and we just had him.
Yeah, and I didn't have, so there were meeting minutes from about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago from Cameron, and they looked fine to me. I had a minor clarification about the item on the Troop 617 canoe trip. The agenda item said that they wanted to use the Charles River overlook, and we basically, in the discussion, said, no, what you really want to use is the Charles River wastewater treatment plant. So I had an edit to the agenda item as a note. The report actually said it was the wastewater treatment plant.
Yep.
It's a much harder sell to get people to camp at the wastewater treatment plant than the overlook.
They just want to park there. They're not, I think they're going on a canoe.
Yeah, they're not-
a
they're not.
canoe trip. They're probably going down to Rocky Narrows.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we, let's have a motion then to approve the April 7
Motion to
minutes.
approve the meeting minutes?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town administrator updates.
So I have quite a few tonight. One, I want to thank all of our residents for coming to town meeting. I love losing an article on quorum when I'm requesting 150, and there are 1,300 people in there. So I was happily embarrassed by that, and I hope to continue our attendance at town meeting.
Still need it at the end, though.
Let's hope those
Yep.
1,300 people
50
remember their resolve about this issue.
I know. But in all seriousness, I'd like to thank all of the people, especially the logistics behind town meeting. And it's impossible to list everybody, but Chris Allen, who donates his time to work with Medfield TV to do the sound that evening, all of our public safety, the facility staff does an incredible job with a very short window to get us set up and unset up for school the next day. So really appreciate them and all the work they do before we even get in the room that night. We will, based on the articles at town meeting, we'll be filing the legislation this week, working with our delegation for both the digital newsprint and for David O'Toole to stay on as our deputy chief. For everybody who is paying attention to the Belforge tree hearing, that was continued until Thursday. So people had a chance to go up now that we've reopened the Medfield State Hospital on limited hours. People have been able to go up to see the trees. And I want to also say congratulations to Cameron. She was chosen for a professional development fellowship for young emerging government leaders. So this group will pay for her professional development over the next 2 years. And she actually is being flown to St. Louis in June to start the first part of that. Everything else is on Zoom, but the first meeting is their cohort in person. So congratulations to her on securing that.
Quick question, you made a comment. So the dog control bylaw update, will that be sent in as well to the delegation? So we'll hear back in the August, September timeframe?
So that only goes, any bylaw changes only goes to the Attorney General.
Okay.
The one for the newspaper articles and David O'Toole's is actually, we need to have special legislation filed by the
Oh, wow.
delegation.
Okay.
And our fiscal year 2027 override page has been updated with all the information for special town meeting. If there are any questions, let us know. The tax calculator has been updated, so everything should be good to go. And then I believe Brittany has an update as well.
Yes, we are very excited that we will be opening the application for the facade improvements tomorrow. We're working on the website landing page now, and I believe there will be even a nice video to show you how to apply. That will be on the business landing page, the select board landing page, and also news flash. So, and probably social media as well. So we'll be blasting that out. We're going to be opening the applications tomorrow, and we're hoping to get them back. I believe the date is June 7th. So it's a pretty quick, tight turnaround. But we're excited about it. We've actually heard from a number of folks that are looking for the application already. So we are excited to see what people are going to be up to. So yeah, to be on the lookout for that tomorrow.
Cool.
Thank you. Select Board reports. Mr. Murby.
See, I now know why I'm behind on so many things when I did this list. Several things. April 24th was the King Philip's Historic Marker unveiling, and kudos to Pete for the excellent speech that he gave at that particular session. It's a great event. The Luminaria all the way over to the Dwight Derby House was kind of fun. We actually took the time to read all the bags.
Me too.
So that was a lot of fun to do.
I actually knew a couple of the people.
Yeah, I know. We were getting perilously close to our time frames.
Yeah.
Being qualified for a Luminaria bag. But anyway, that was a great event at the start of the History Weekend. On Memorial Day Parade the Memorial Day Parade Committee met on April 29th, so we're in the final stages of getting the details worked out, and the parade's going to be pretty much like what the parade has always been. So clearly the 375th parade will eclipse anything we do on Memorial Day, but nonetheless, that's moving ahead. On April 28th, I attended online the MBTA Advisory Board meeting. I think I've periodically just briefly commented about the MBTA. They have major financial issues, but they basically have put the information out there, and the legislature in particular, as well as the governor's office, have been working to make sure that the financial gap that they have in their stable spending, that they're kind of filling that gap one year at a time. So they're still moving along. It would be nice to have a longer term solution, but at this point it seems like they're managing their budgets in the political realm, and they're managing it effectively. So I'm just paying attention to what they're doing. The public forum before the town meeting was a good public forum, and had a lot of good participation in that. On May 3rd, my wife and I participated in the Path for Hope walk on the rail trail. Because we used that cut-in that we were just talking about, we actually met them on the way up the rail trail and followed them on up, and then we actually went back the other way. But they had pretty decent turnout for, just a Saturday that didn't have ideal weather up front. So that was nice to do that. Then the afternoon, once we warmed up on that, then the afternoon we did the opening. I did the opening day baseball parade along with Eileen, which was fun as usual. It kind of makes you feel like the spring's really there. Attended yesterday the Flip the Switch ceremony at Memorial School, which was fun to be there. I'd like to say that they had a couple of classes there, and all the kids were spending a lot of time watching the officials in the back of the crowd, and then I realized they weren't. They were all watching Eileen's puppy. That was how that went. Let's see. on 8th. Oh, but the thing I had for the two of you, and Eileen, you might have run across this before. I got contacted by a woman from NFC, which is the National Fitness Campaign. This is, she asked if she could talk to me on it was actually a Google Meet call to talk about these sports courts that they've been promoting. And this was something that came up several years ago that I think Parks and Rec looked at. And I'm not sure if you were involved, but you might have been involved with that. But basically what they're promoting is they call them sports courts. It's an outdoor court. She said it's the footprint of about a basketball court. And what it has is there's a wall in the middle of it. And on one side, they have a lot of fixed equipment that you can use for calisthenic type exercise. So there's things, if you can't really just do straight push-ups on the ground, you can do leaning push-ups with these handles, you can climb on things, you can step up and down, and that would be just general fitness, although you could also do fitness classes there. And then on the other side, it's literally just a floor. So if you wanted to do a Zumba class or something like that, it's outdoors. The courts are configurable in the sense that you can put art on the wall if you want, or you can order their art for the wall. You can put a canopy over it. I think it stays up all year. I asked her about the maintenance. She said, you just power wash them twice a year. And I asked her about the cost. So we'd have to look at that. They have grants that they do. She said there's one grant remaining for Massachusetts, so presumably we could take advantage of that. And Blue Cross Blue Shield is the sponsoring organization in Massachusetts, and they have other grants beyond that. So given all the things that were going on with Parks and Rec, it occurred to me that might be something that they'd be interested in. Right after I finished with this lady, I get an email from Katie Walper, because this lady immediately reached out to Katie and Kathy Vanderbloom, who she'd already talked to them several years ago. We have another follow-up call tomorrow at noontime. Noontime? Yeah, noontime tomorrow. It'd probably be less than an hour. If either of you would like to join in on that, I can get a hold of this Renee Frangione and get you added to it. So
No, you got it, otherwise we're on a meeting.
We would need to post you as a meeting.
Because the two of us would be in a meeting and make
Okay,
quorum.
okay. Well,
you
I
as
would,
my friend.
or I could step out if anybody wants to take my place. Okay, so I'm going to be on there. Katie and I don't know about Kathy, but Katie will be on it for sure.
Wait,
Yes, Mr. Sorrell.
are they selling you a product, or what's the?
It's a court that the town would have to buy. Their purpose isn't to, they're not in the business of selling these things. They're in the process, it's a national program to encourage fitness. But they're encouraging it by promoting the purchase of these sports courts for individual towns.
What's the cost of them?
Well, that's the part I'm not clear about. The cost that she gave me, I just don't have it off the top of my head. It sounded like easily half the cost, and it was, I wish I could remember what it was. It was like $320,000. Half the cost sounded like it would be covered with a grant. When I talked to Katie, she said, yeah, they gave us a low number when we first looked at it several years ago, but when it came time to actually figure out what it cost, the actual cost was a lot more than what they said.
And the other issue is, who else is out there for competitors? Is this something that has to
Well, this is a national. Given how many towns have them, I don't think that's an issue, Mark. The closest town here was, I think Milford was the closest one, and I think it was either Canton or someplace like that also had them. So they're doing this on a national level. They're largely funded through grants. I would have thought it was a good deal until I talked to Katie, and she said, no, the actual cost that it came out to be for what we looked at 3 or 4 years ago was a lot more. So I don't know if the prices are lower, but certainly Katie's planning to be on. She's already had experience with this conversation, and we'll figure that out. I just wanted you to know that we're having the conversation, and perhaps it's a worthwhile thing to do.
Cool.
Anything else?
Yeah, one more, if I can find. Number 9 is, tomorrow I have a Norfolk County Advisory Board meeting tomorrow night, which is the final one of the year. That's it.
Ms. Murphy.
Alrighty, so History Weekend, I made the marker event. That was, I love the bags. The trolleys, they look like they were quite full. So it looked like you had a nice weekend. That was awesome. Congrats. Town meeting, I'm very happy that we had over 1,300 people is fantastic. And I'm going to make one quick note, and this is more of like an educational thing. I know it was a long night, but it would have been, like the one point where the woman, and I'm not saying this in any disparaging way, when she questioned the planning. And I mean, you figure planning board's been working on that thing for about 3.5 years. But that's a perfect opportunity to share with our residents that there's so many meetings that go on throughout the year. And like when we get to the warrant meetings and Parks and Rec comes up and presents and Planning Board presents, that's when, I can't stress enough for our residents, that's a prime time to come and learn about what's going on. Great opportunity to ask questions, especially if you're intimidated and get in front of a mic. And then if we continue doing the forum like you did, you hosted with school committee, those are the nights where if the more people talk up that there are other times. I felt bad that somebody felt like, well, that one night they've got to take in all that knowledge, because there's been so many meetings over the last 3.5 years. It's unfortunate that a resident feels like they're overwhelmed when the key thing is all of these groups, whether it be planning, ZBA, whatever, it's all volunteers. So they have volunteered their time for the last 3.5 years to finally get that warrant article in the book. So that's why I think, to me, it's so important, if it's meant to be passed, pass it and not delay it another year, because it's another year before they can start to act on that. But I thought they were really good questions. I thought a lot of residents engaged, yes, no, question, microphone, which is what we have the meetings for. Flip the Switch event was really fun. Yes, Bennett did enjoy it. But I enjoyed it more when what they had is 2 classrooms. One classroom came up and they did sweetest little drawings where they did what these solar panels were, how they're going to be used, how they're going to be applied. Really, really, really sweet. And then the next group came up and did all these designs for Flip the Switch and promoting the event. So super fun. Nice representation of the schools. Mo and his team, Soul Tech, the group that was behind it. So all good. Baseball parade, softball parade. I will note that was Bennett's first official parade representing the town. He was right there leading the crew. Gus and I realized that he kept all the kids back. The first year we didn't get inundated as we went down the Pleasant Street, but it was really fun. The great day. I love seeing the boys and girls baseball and softball teams, all the energy. Affordable Housing Trust, we had a meeting last week. A couple of key takeaways is we did get together to sign a memo of understanding for the $400,000 that goes to, I think it's 441 Main, which that's the white building, if you're looking at Avenue on 109 to the right. They've done quite a bit of renovations to the outside, to the windows, and now they're getting ready to put on 2 apartments that'll be 40B, and actually all of the units count for 40B. And we did some updates on some projects. So if any of the residents who are listening to this right now are curious what's happening with the Habitat for Humanity, we were going to do a walkthrough for the site right on at the end of that stub at the end of Colonial. But because the Habitat team wasn't available until late June, we said if they couldn't do it in May, we wouldn't do it again until late September, because there's no way in the world I want to have Habitat walk the land without the residents have a chance to be there to ask questions and see what's happening. And again, just so no one gets alarmed, this is just bringing the engineer in to listen to the residents' concerns, talk about what could be done, but it's a good 2 years out before any shovel would ever get close to dirt. But if you do walk the rail trail and you get to where Colonial is and you see the stakes in the ground with orange flags, that is where they staked where the house would go. A small home. I think it's like 1,100 or 1,200 square foot home, but it gives you a feel for where it would be placed. And other than that, that's all I have.
I had a request to have a meeting with the Congressman, Jake Auchincloss, and when we met last week, he in the process of talking about what was going on in town, I was explaining to him our issues with financing our town, and that we don't have that many businesses in town. And when I mentioned to him that we had this internationally known manufacturer of clocks, he immediately said, "Can we go and see them?" And I said, "Sure." And his aide said, "You don't have time." And he said, "How far is it?" And we ended up going, and whoever was next on his schedule had to wait, unfortunately for them. He did highlight for me that he had 2 earmarks that he's gotten, federal monies for the town, for the roundabout at 27 and West and the Pleasant Street sidewalks. And he said, given the current climate in Washington. The federal government would be looking to take back monies in blue states, and so he encouraged us to get that money spent as fast as we can. The Medfield Foundation Legacy Fund met and issued its grants to very deserving nonprofits around Medfield. I had office hours and met with a couple seniors who were asking this was after the town meeting, they were asking about ways of getting relief for seniors from the property tax. And so I gave them all the materials that I accumulated about 8 years ago on what Sudbury and Wayland had done to provide tax relief for seniors. You need an act of the state legislature to do that. Medfield Foundation met, and then finally, when I listened at town meeting about Parcel B, I went back and reread the land disposition agreement, and I'll put the actual language from the land disposition agreement onto my website, onto my blog, because the things that got said at the town meeting didn't quite correlate with what I remembered, so I'll add that onto the blog. Any other information?
No? Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye. Thanks for sticking it out to the end.